So this is for you to literally just get the information that you need to make a decision that's best for you based on peptides. A lot of people have probably heard about peptides. Maybe you have some preconceived notion about what peptides are, and that's totally great. Absolutely. I had, some preconceived notions as well as what I thought they were and what they did and all of the things. And to be honest, I was wrong about quite a few things, happily. So the brand behind this is Le-Vel Brands, and Le-Vel Brands has been a thing for over 13 years. Since 2012, they have done almost $4 billion in sales in holistic nutrition. They have basically become famous for their nutritional foundation that is usually you've probably heard of us through the Thrive Experience, but they have been a gut health focused company since before gut health was cool, before you saw it trending, before it was on TikTok and all these things. We were talking about gut health first and with good reason. And we have spent over a decade doing the, you know, most important things, in my opinion, is getting people healthy from the inside out through nutrition. Well, Le-Vel RX is the modern wellness version of Le-Vel Brands. Now we're introducing peptides and longevity tools into our lineup. And we want to talk to you specifically about Le-Vel RX to let you have more of a ability to make a decision. So Rob and Elise will go through right now. They're going to talk to you about like what even are peptides, what's that mean, and the difference between longevity therapies and peptides. Not everything is a peptide. That's actually a common misconception. And a big question, Rob and Elise, that you guys might want to answer too is why does this have to be a prescription? Why does this have to involve some sort of, medical evaluation and all of that? So you guys can take it from here there.
Well, excuse me, I will jump in and answer that one. So, as Laura said, I'm a physician assistant practicing. I've got my own medical clinic here in Montana, and I've been prescribing peptides for almost 2 years. Peptides simply are chains of amino acids. So, if you have three or more amino acids put together, they turn into a peptide. It just basically means several amino acids put together. Uh,
Which is a protein.
Yep, the proteins. Yep, exactly. So the question of why are they prescription? Well, I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that we can actually do this because peptides have pretty significant effects on the body. Okay, so if you think of common peptides, things that are out there already, obviously everybody's heard of the GLPs, but insulin is a peptide. It's got a very strong effect on the body. It's a peptide. It comes via prescription, so it has a pretty significant effect on blood sugar, especially for people who cannot manage blood sugar on their own. And the other peptides, they may have, more or less of a strong effect on your body, but they all have a target, a specific target. They work similar to, but differently than pharmaceuticals. And I think the one thing I would say, just to sort of clarify that point, is I'm a big believer in peptides. I have access to a bunch of them, even outside of what Le-Vel has. Um, and I prefer them typically to pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals tend to have lots of side effects. Um, Oftentimes, those side effects are treated with other pharmaceuticals. Peptides have very specific targets, and because they are just chains of amino acids, which our body knows how to use already, they tend not to have side effects per se. They have targets, and they will, like with the GLPs, the target is to produce more GLP hormone or to just give yourself exogenous GLP. But in terms of side effects, they act very differently than traditional medications. And because they have such strong effects on the body, that's why they end up being prescription.
Awesome. So let's talk about, obviously, like I've mentioned, there are peptides and then there are longevity therapies. We've got kind of two different, really three different categories. The peptides and the longevity therapies. Let's talk about longevity first. There's a lot of them on this screen, so don't get overwhelmed. I would love for you guys to kind of explain, obviously, the descriptions are underneath each one. So if you guys want to take a screenshot of that and look at that, you're totally welcome to. But kind of explain like what's the deal with the longevity ones? I know there actually is a peptide in here, but what is the longevity ones for? And how, if I was brand new to this, which I am, how would I know which one is best for me? Like, because in the intake process, which we'll explain to you guys how the intake process works. But in the intake process, I need to have an idea of which one might be the best one for me to choose to see if I qualify for that. How would I even make that decision?
Yeah, so if you look at the bullet points underneath each one of the products, you can see, kind of the talking points and the bigger things that they're going to tell you about in terms of what each one does. So Laura mentioned that one of those is a peptide. So the fourth one from the left, sermorelin, that's a peptide. Again, just chains of amino acids. All of these, again, they have specific targeted actions that they do. And so it really depends on when you're trying to decide which one or ones you might want to try. It really depends on what effects you're looking for. So, uh, some of these, like the longevity, let's go far right, L-carnitine, lipo-C, those are both used for weight loss. We go one more to the left, glutathione. This is the body's master antioxidant. It's produced in the liver. Um, so if you're trying to support your liver, if you're trying to do detox, that's a great choice. Methylene blue, the next one to the left, that is, it's actually a dye that's used in chemistry to stain cells. That's was its first use, but it was found to have benefits to mitochondria, cellular mitochondria. So mitochondria are the organelles within a cell, and there are literally billions and billions, hundreds of billions of them in your body, and that's what produces energy. So the electron transport chain and oxygen are used to produce ATP and use ATP for energy making. So for people who are worried about fatigue and not having enough energy, methylene blue and NAD plus can all be very effective for increasing energy. Sermorelin is one, so it falls into the longevity category. Um, so basically, what it does is it stimulates your body to produce growth hormone. People think growth hormone, they hear that and they think that, well, it must be, it's going to grow my tissues, it's going to make me bigger. It's not exactly what it does. It's not really anabolic like something like testosterone would be or steroids would be. But what it helps to do is two things at once, really, is why I prescribe it. It helps for people who are trying to lose weight. It helps them to reduce their body fat while at the same time maintaining muscle mass. And so, this is one of the potential side effects of the GLP medications. When people are taking them and they're losing quite a bit of weight, the main reason why they work is because they produce a lot more GLP than your body is able to produce on its own. So your body produces GLP already, and it only lasts for a few minutes in circulation. These GLP medications, what they do is they can actually last for several hours, sometimes a day. And so they basically just suppress your appetite. So you're eating fewer calories. When you do that, you're going to lose weight, yes, because calories in, calories out. But you don't want to lose muscle mass. And so there's always about 15 to 20% of the weight you lose tends to come from muscle mass. And so using something like sermorelin at the same time, this is one of the main uses that I use it for. Someone's on a GLP and I also co-prescribe them sermorelin. They're able to lose that body fat, but maintain the muscle mass. And muscle really is the organ or the tissue, if you want to call it that, of longevity. We've worked hard building muscle all our lives. We don't want to lose it. It makes us frail. It makes us more likely to fall down and break versus bounce. So you really want to maintain muscle mass at all costs. So Sermorelin is great for that. And then the other one on here that I didn't mention yet is MIC B12. We talked about this. And that's another thing that can be used for weight loss. I would say it's not as powerful as some of the other ones, but it tends to work really well for people who say are eating a vegetarian or vegan diet who are already likely low in vitamin B12.
Wait,
Um,
what's Mick?
it's just the format
Oh,
of it. It's methionine,
oh,
inositol, and choline
got it.
plus B12.
Is
Oh,
that like a pop quiz? She just gave you a pop quiz. What's
mm,
Mitt?
Yep.
Quick,
Good
Rob.
thing I knew it.
I know.
Yeah.
But also B12 is very good for someone who's maybe B12 deficient.
Yeah,
It's
pernicious
from
anemia. I mean, if you're eating a
vegan.
yeah, that's what I said that. If you're eating a balanced diet,
Mm.
most people tend not to be, most people who are eating meat anyway, I should say, tend not to be deficient in B vitamins, B12 specifically. But for vegans and vegetarians, it becomes a lot more important to supplement.
And also
And
MTHFR.
yeah, yep. And I
Yep.
want to point out something. So if you look at the vials or the containers of a lot of these, many of them have a, green cap on the top and they're like a glass vial. That means they're injectable. And so I just want to point this out because there's other companies that we're competing against in this space who are selling a lot of oral peptides. And I would say in general, oral peptides don't work well. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, the ones that are really efficacious are the ones that you inject because they bypass what's called first pass metabolism. And what that means is if you take them by mouth, these are again, they're peptides, they're amino acids. And just like food, just like any protein you eat, what happens when you eat it? It goes into your stomach and it gets degraded by the stomach acid and digestive enzymes. And so if you're taking these peptides, oral peptides, a lot of them are going to be broken down and they're really going to have very little of it that actually has an effect. So taking them injection, taking them intranasal, that can really help the efficacy and the amount that you're actually getting to your target tissues.
Nice. Okay. Well, now I just discovered that I want like three or four more of these. So
Ah.
thanks a lot. All right. So,
Well,
and
then
I
we
want to
do.
talk to you guys.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. Oh,
No, go.
before you move on, if you don't mind, I do have a list of the peptides that can be combined because not everything can be combined. And specifically, methylene blue is one of the ones that they can't compound with every single other longevity peptide in therapy. So, if you want to do a stack, for example, I'm doing a stack to support perimenopause and just symptoms of middle age. And so my stack is glutathione, NAD plus, and sermorelin. And I'm doing the sermorelin for the benefits of that growth hormone, reducing inflammation, really deep sleep.
It's also great for anti-aging.
Yep, anti-aging. The glutathione is incredible for your skin, elasticity, any spots that you have. I mean, glutathione is incredible. It'll help shuttle out metals and chemicals from your cells, your tissues. And back, what I just said was sermorelin is really great for sleep. And then also, like Rob said, it helps preserve your lean muscle mass. And I'm in a workout program now on an app, by the way. I keep sharing it on my stories, so you better check it out. But this, um, what my goal is to increase my lean muscle mass, not weight loss. And yes, you can do any of these longevity peptides without doing the weight loss. And some of them, like Rob said, have benefits of weight loss if you do not want to do a GLP.
Mhm.
Okay. And so again, back to a little bit of info. The B12 can be stacked, like I said, with NAD, with glutathione, with sermorelin. And then the above, those four that I just shared, cannot be compounded with methylene blue. Okay. And methylene blue and sermorelin can be compounded together, yes. And then methylene blue and L-carnitine can be compounded together. A microdosing, the tirzepatide, has compounding options as well, like sermorelin, B12, L-carnitine, etc. Laura will cover that. And
Just to
also,
be clear, when you're saying compounded, you're saying one vial and it's going to have
or
multiple
stacked.
ingredients.
I mean
Okay,
stacked.
thank you.
So the tirzepatide and semaglutide, they will compound with it in the same vial. But in this case, if you're stacking for longevity, it's separate. So you might choose two that you inject, like I'm doing. I'm doing sermorelin and NAD plus as the nasal spray, and then I'm doing the glutathione. So my injection schedule will be B12, or sorry, back it up. NAD twice a week, glutathione will be twice a week, and then the sermorelin will be 5 times a week.
Gotcha. Yeah. And just a note, the methylene blue is only available in capsule form. So just in case it's confusing or anything like that,
Yeah,
again, look at the pictures. Some
with
are
a
capsules,
photo.
some are nasal, some are oral, and some are injections on here. Let me talk to you about the weight loss ones. Okay, so my personal experience, I mean, if you know my story at all, if you follow me at all, I lost over 60 pounds naturally thanks to our three steps, our Thrive Classic experience. I'm sorry. It's the best. It's the OG. It's what made our company literally famous. Okay. My stack of the Thrive experience has been the lifestyle capsules, Any shake, seriously, pick one, choose one. I love the shake so much. And then I use the Black Label DFT. That is my stack for the Thrive experience. I lost 60 pounds. I've been able to maintain that weight loss. I mean, Disney World kind of gives me like an extra 5 of the happiest pounds on earth, but I know how to lose it thanks to Thrive. And so I'm very close to my goal weight because of that. And so for me, when I was entering into the peptide space, I decided, there's kind of like this threshold that I want to get past. Okay, just to be fully transparent, I really want to lose about 15-ish or so more pounds. But like Elise and Rob were saying, I mean, I'm going to be 50 here in a few months. Muscle mass is extremely important to me. So I am not like just hell bent on, I got to get down to the lowest weight possible. Listen, I want to look good and thinner. I'm not going to sacrifice my muscle. So when I went through these, I was looking at, obviously, you're going to see on this chart, there are semaglutide, the compounded GLP-1. There is an injection and an oral option. Okay, for that. And then there's also tirzepatide. That's compounded GLP-1 and GIP. This is a dual pathway. Tirzepatide is actually a newer one. It's like more, it's literally newer. Um,
Second generation.
yes.
And it has two weight loss targets instead of semaglutide, which is first generation and only has one target.
Right. So for me, I mean that is what helped make my decision like to steer me more towards the tirzepatide is because I felt like, well, quite frankly, I don't know, two is better than one. Why why would you do one when you can have two? It's kind of like setting myself up for success. I don't know. That's my dumb way of looking at things. Um, the other thing that steered me into um, choosing the tirzepatide option is because I've just heard from a lot of my friends, a lot of my personal customers who are using tirzepatide along with their Thrive experience too, that when they've compared both, the symptoms and side effects on tirzepatide has significantly been reduced versus their experience on semaglutide. And I usually have an iron stomach. I mean, it's kind of like the joke in my family that like nothing phases me. But listen, I'm trying to set myself up for success. So that's another reason why I personally chose tirzepatide. Now, there are options for microdosing as well. That's actually what I went with because I don't have a whole lot left to lose. I'm looking at maybe 15-ish or so pounds. That is definitely just your choice. You can choose your own adventure here. What I would personally recommend, and again, I'm not the physician, I'm not the medical provider. Okay. This is also a conversation that, again, in your intake process, we'll show you how that works. You're actually going to get assigned a medical provider in your state that's going to talk to you about all this to really make sure that the one you selected and added to your cart is actually the one you really need. I feel like that's really something that sets this apart than just buying it willy-nilly off something online, right? It's very
That
much
sounds right.
customized to you.
Yeah.
Um, but so for me, I chose the microdose tirzepatide. One of the things, like what Elise was saying, talking about compounding. So this is also, it varies by state. Some states have regulations of what's allowed to be compounded in versus other states. But for me, I'm in South Carolina and I was so excited because all I had in my cart was just the microdose tirzepatide. And I was like, filled out my intake form and all of that. And then I requested a consultation because I've never done this before. I had some questions. So I requested a consultation and I got to video chat with my provider who's also in South Carolina. She talked me through everything. And based on my intake form, where it asked me a bunch of questions, she actually wound up compounding mine with NAD plus and B12. Now, obviously, that's going to be a lower dose than if I were to just add that to my stack to have an actual separate product. But I felt
Well, I
like
think
that
I
was
want to
a
interject on that, Laura, because I think
yeah.
what people need to understand is there's synergism between those three ingredients, and you want to take the lowest possible dose that has the effect that you're looking for.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've and a lot of us have learned from you two is the phrase low and slow. You can always increase stuff later, but like ease into this stuff, especially if you might have any sensitivities and all that. But again, when they send you your information to the providers, you can have that discussion with them, but I'm totally fine with going low and slow. So I did the microdose tirzepatide. So I'm very excited though that they added in those extra things. And one of the things that I love about Le-Vel Rx and this whole entire process is it didn't cost me anything extra to add those extra goodies into that little vial. Now, if I were to add totally separate products, yes, that would I'd be paying for each one. But for them to just add to my experience per se, it didn't cost any extra. I thought that was really cool. That was like a really cool bonus. So I do want to go over this slide, and this is just again, you can screenshot this, but one of the things that's been really impressive to me is, again, this company, Le-Vel Brands, it's been around for almost 14 years now. Okay, this is a long-term, trustworthy, sturdy, stable, debt-free brand that is privately held. And the conversations that a lot of us have been having, including, me personally, I've talked to a lot of people, is a lot of people have decided they want to pursue peptides. They want to pursue longevity therapies like this. They're already decided that's what they want to do. What's been holding them back is where do I find how to get this from a brand that I can actually trust? That's where Le-Vel Brands comes in here. That's Le-Vel Rx. And so, they've taken great care to align with the licensed healthcare providers that are literally, there's 20,000 of them. They're currently in the United States right now in 50 states. But these are certified, trusted 503A pharmacy partners. They care for patients in all 50 states. They actually prescribe over 800,000 prescriptions per month, this telehealth provider does. So it is a well-oiled machine, but it is also backed by a trusted brand. So I'll pause here. Rob and Elise, do y'all have anything to add to this slide per se?
I would just second that. Yeah, you really want to be careful where you're getting peptides from. Peptides are hot right now. They're all over the internet. They're all over, social media. People are talking about them. And if you are buying them ever not through a physician or a provider, then you don't know where you're getting them. Most of them are compounded in China. They have tons of chemicals that are mixed in. Why you need to go through a physician or a provider is because you end up getting them from a compound pharmacy. Compounding pharmacies, that means that they're going to make them right there, and then they're not made 3 months ago and then transported and degraded in the transport conditions and then shipped to your door without a prescription, and you don't really know what you're getting. These are all safe. They have certificates of authenticity for production. And, again, being able to chat with a provider, someone who can tell you, well, you heard about this one and you're interested in this, but I actually think there's something better for you and for your goals. I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah, and that actually is what's happening. That is why it's really important to go this route. One of the other things that I'll do a couple little rapid fire questions that I know that there are people asking, that I've heard endlessly is, do I have to mix this stuff myself? How does it arrive? Like all this stuff. This, if you get the vials, for example, the little vial, some of them will come refrigerated, some of them don't, depending on what it's needed. You are not having to mix all this stuff. Your sponsor or yourself, you are not having to figure out your own dosing. Everything is provided for you. It is also shipped discreetly. So if this is something that you don't want the whole entire world to know right now, it's fine. It is shipped to you in discreet packaging. In fact, when you place an order, your sponsor, the person who referred you to this webinar, they can't even see what you ordered. Your privacy is totally protected because they do follow HIPAA guidelines as well, because this is an official telehealth provider situation here. I want to point out too on the cost, a lot of people have we have so many reviews. A lot of people have said, I'm actually shocked that it's so affordable, that it's so competitive. That's been really great. But I do want to point out that when you go to the website and you see the price of something, there are no hidden fees. You don't pay for shipping for your tools here, for your wellness tools, for your peptides. You also don't pay any kind of tech fee or telehealth fee or follow-up fee or provider virtual visit fee. Whatever nonsense fees. There are none of those. There are no fees for anything. In fact, you can also choose to go 1 month payment at a time. and you don't have to lock in. You'll get a discount if you lock in for 3 months, but you don't have to do that. You can do month at a time. There's literally no hidden fees for anything. And what I really love is you can email, you can call a real person. You can literally, there's a phone number you can call. There's also an online chat. You can request a virtual visit again with a provider to just follow up and just ask them questions. So I really like that. It makes you feel really taken care of, but also, like Rob was saying, going cheaper through like the gray market or buying stuff from Temu or something. I don't know, whatever. There's like, it is wacky out there. Okay. Sometimes going that cheap could very much be the most expensive decision you ever make, you know? So just do it where it's all safe and legit. Okay. That's all we'll say about that. So let me talk about the process. This is actually so easy. First things first, it is really important that like you could do this right now. You could totally multitask. You need to get back to the person who invited you to this webinar to make sure you have a Le-Vel account. You need a Le-Vel account to be able to access Le-Vel Rx. So if you don't have an account yet, be sure to go to them right now during this webinar and go like, hey, I need to set up my Le-Vel account. Do that. If it's been a while since you've logged in, message them and say, hey, can you find my login information? I need to get back into my account. You can go ahead and do that. Once you log in, you'll click on Le-Vel Rx on the website. There, it's literally so easy. It'll take you maybe 5 to 10 minutes max to do this. Okay. You'll go through a health assessment. It just asks you some questions about your medical history, your personal health goals, the things you're looking for. You'll choose one item that you think you're mostly interested in. For each one, you'll do a separate intake process because it's done properly. So you'll choose one and you'll go through that process. I do want to point out on the right-hand side of your screen, this is actually a screenshot from my intake process. And I'm finding that some people are missing this little button right here. So I wanted to point it out. At the very bottom of this little survey of the things that you're mostly interested in, there is a way for you to select. I'm not sure. I want a virtual visit with my provider. Select that button and you'll get an appointment where you can talk to a provider for you. So once you submit all this, you'll submit your payment for the one that you're choosing as well. A provider reviews it. It could take a couple of hours. It could take a day. It honestly is going very quickly. And then a lot of people are receiving their stuff literally 48 hours later. And again, in discreet packaging. So it's really been great. But I just wanted to show you how easy this process is. And of course, if you have obviously everybody in here, you have a referrer, somebody referred you, a Le-Vel promoter, just ask them too if you have any questions and stuff like, hey, what do I do on this screen? We'll obviously be happy to help you.
Okay, let me pause you.
Yep, go ahead.
I got to interject. So you all, I shared with you, I wanted to do a stack, right? I had 3 in mind that I wanted to do. So what I did was I filled out my form for glutathione, and then I didn't see that little box that said request the provider consult. So what I did was I received my confirmation email for the glutathione. And at that point, at the bottom of the email, there's a phone number for support. So I called support. She set me up with a telehealth appointment, which I had less than 24 hours later. On this appointment, we reviewed my questionnaire, that I wanted a glutathione, that I wanted to stack 2 more of the therapies. And we went through the options and I shared the ones had my eye on. And then she said, okay, so what I'll do is I will set you up on 2 more health appointments because we have to do it for each of the items in the therapies, but you won't get on that telehealth appointment with me. It just has to go through the system. So at that point, we were done with our conversation and she did those 2 telehealth appointments. So I got a calendar link to that, but I did not hop on with her. And then it automatically processed and charged my card for the stack of 3. So if you guys have your eye on a stack and you're going to do something outside of the GLP that is compounded with another, then that's how you would go about that. Okay, it's super easy. It was very fast. You have a chance to ask questions. If you feel like you made a mistake after you did your questionnaire, you can just call that number that's on that confirmation email, and they're very quick.
It's so much easier than I was thinking. I literally had hyped myself up thinking this is going to be so complicated and so hard and so scary.
Hmm.
And none of that was true. That's literally the story of my life. Elise can attest to that. I overthink everything. And the process was easier. I feel great. I literally thought like my stomach is going to fall out or something. I don't know. I thought all these scary things were going to happen. No, I feel great. The little poke from the needles are tiny. I mean, like teeny tiny little baby needles. I was thinking like this is going to be like an epidural or something. That's going
Rob's
to be
gonna show you the
horrible.
needle.
I've
Oh
got one
yeah, do
here.
that. Yeah, do
So
that.
just so you guys know, if you
Wait,
get
if it's
if you
fuzzy,
get
so
an
you have to keep it
injectable
down.
peptide,
I think I gotta put paper behind
you're
it.
going to get a little vial like this. You'll get some
You get the
alcohol swabs,
There you go.
and you'll get these needles. Sorry. These are tiny. This is an insulin syringe. It's a 31 gauge needle. If you can even see it,
There you
it's
go.
it's tiny.
Hmm.
They're virtually painless. It goes in the fat on your belly, typically.
You pinch it hard.
It's a very simple process. Once you've done it once or twice, the entire, procedure, so to speak, takes about, I don't know, a minute or less. It's very quick.
Any tips
Yep.
for loading the needle or?
No, I mean, you're just going to take your alcohol swab, you're going to open it up, you're going to clean the top of the vial, you'll put your needle in, you'll drop the fluid, it'll tell you how much in your prescription, and then you're going to use the same alcohol swab, you'll clean your skin before you inject into your skin. It's very simple, and
It
there will be
says,
instructions.
is it better in the belly or thigh?
It can go anywhere where there's body fat, subcutaneous body fat.
Oh,
So,
so everywhere except my forehead.
yeah,
I always
So,
say
back of the
you
hand.
pinch an
yeah.
inch. So I do it around my belly button and I pinch an inch together and it's firm, right? And then when you poke it in at a 45-degree angle, it goes right in. If you don't pinch it tight enough and you're being like kind of wussy about it, then that's when it hurts.
Yeah, just do it quick.
Yeah.
I didn't notice any of that. And that's what's great. So what is cool though is when you receive your product, in the discreet packaging, you're gonna get all of that stuff. You're gonna get the alcohol swabs, more than enough. So like I actually use one for the vial and then I throw that away and I use a new one for my skin.
Wow.
So and then I also do they also provide more than enough of the needles that you need. They also give you instructions, and the instructions have pictures. So you don't have to remember all this stuff. You can literally just look at the photos. It makes it so
And
easy.
if you, for some reason, can't figure it out, or if you're still worried, there's videos on YouTube of people giving subcutaneous injections. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's very, very, very easy. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at this screen where there's a lot of testimonies. I couldn't like there I could make 5 pages full of these already. We've only had this for a little over a week now available to us, and just the reviews are coming like crazy. So if you're worried about like the complication, I'm not very tech savvy, I'm scared. Don't worry about it. This is going to be so much easier. So, what happens after that in the process is once you're approved, obviously you're going to pay for your thing, you're going to do your consultation if one is required. It's not required for everybody, but if it is required, you'll have your consultation. They'll ship it right to you. Refills will be automatic, which is nice. You do need to log in. You'll create a portal account. You'll create your Le-Vel Rx portal, which is separate from your Le-Vel Thrive account. So you'll have two. That's where you'll be able to see like your prescription, how to contact your provider, ask any questions. All of that will be in your portal, as well as anything that you need to do or anything you need to upload. The process is very simple. So I want to talk about this with you guys. I'll give my piece and then I'll let Rob and Elise kind of take it too. One of the things, again, I was very nervous about starting, especially the GIP, the tirzepatide, because I heard horror stories. I'm like, I don't want to lose all my muscle and my hair to fall out and, all these things. And a lot of people have reminded me that a lot of those things that you might hear that are very scary come from situations where maybe they're taking the wrong thing, maybe they're taking the wrong dose, and maybe they're not supporting their body in the right way. So I want to encourage you guys, if you are taking any of the RX products, to please, please, please remember the foundation on which you build your house is equally as important as the structure of which you're building your house. Okay. So this is what we recommend as your base foundation. And Robin, Elise, I'll hand it to you to like, why? Why is it important for the Thrive, for thirst, and biotic? Just briefly explain that.
Uh, Basically, I mean, as you said, it's the foundation. So if you take these tools, these longevity tools, weight loss tools, peptides, and you're not eating well and you're not supporting your body's daily needs, they're going to work a lot less well for you. The more you can do to support your body nutritionally, the better everything is going to work. And the way I always describe it is the way you want to look and the way you want to feel comes down to about 85, maybe 90% of being nutritionally based. So you got to do those things. These other tools, they're very powerful, but they're the remainder, right? They're the last 10 or 15%. So I always tell people you're going to have the very best results by far, and you're going to have more synergy if you're really supporting your body with, the core nutritional needs.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, that's one of the things I've learned from you guys too, is that especially like I'll just for myself being on the microdose tirzepatide, it does affect your gut movement, the motility, right? It slows digestion. That's just one of the things that it does. That's why it works so well. So for me, I really think it's important to support your gut health, to make sure everything's moving, to make sure you stay regular and all of those unsexy things. The other thing is that I am eating less calories. So I want to make sure that I'm not nutritionally deficient. I want to make sure I'm getting enough protein and that I have enough fiber and all of those things. Elise is a huge proponent. She probably tells anyone who's listening, maybe even those who aren't listening, about thirst. So, Elise, why don't you go off and tell us like why thirst? Why is it your favorite thing? And why do we
Okay,
all need
well,
it?
now first a little bit back up. If a person does the tirzepatide microdose and they're feeling like they're less hungry, absolutely prioritize your protein intake first because otherwise your body can cannibalize your own muscles. Right, hon?
Yes, correct.
And so you
Yep.
want to make sure that the protein intake happens when you sit down to the meal, okay? Then you work around the plate towards the carbs.
So just aim for what is your ideal body weight. So if
Yeah.
you, let's say, weigh 150 pounds and you want to get down to 120, then you want to use the 120 number. That's your ideal body weight. You're going to try and aim for 120 grams of protein per day. And that's regardless of whether you're on the GLP medications or trying to lose weight or what. That should be your goal anyway. Again, that's what helps preserve muscle mass.
So I personally believe definitely the three steps classic plus collagen protein first thing in the morning. That's going to get you really good protein on board. Another thing we discussed was eggs. Eggs have really good nutrients in them. Do not only eat the whites. That's a very bad, common dietary myth, in my opinion, because so much nutrition is found in the yolks. And don't be afraid of that, even though probably you've heard that for decades. It's a lie. Um, Also, butter is good for you. So back to thirst. Your thirst has your sodium, potassium, magnesium, and it's incredible because it's formulated from sea salt and coconut water. So you're also going to get some trace minerals in there. And it's zero sugar, or only 2 grams of carbs. And everyone that's getting their thirst every day is feeling so much better. I mean, if this is you, comment in the chat because thirst is a game changer, especially in these hot summer months. It's a game changer for people that feel blood sugar swings because low sodium in the body can actually exacerbate hypoglycemia. So I love our electrolytes.
Most
Yeah,
people
and
do
I'll give
right
you like
now,
a little
especially this time of year, dehydrated.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little pro tip too. Get if you like cherry limeade from Sonic. I know Robin, Lee's plug your ears. Okay. But if you like cherry limeade from Sonic, y'all need to get the wild cherry and the lime thirst and mix them together.
Yes. So
OMG,
good.
over ice water, dude. It is so good. It tastes just like a cherry limeade. But it, isn't a sugar bomb.
And
And it's good for you.
if you want a sparkly thirst, you can do that too. You've got to mix your packet with plain water, and then you'll add your ice, and then pour the sparkling water slowly over the top because it does bubble a lot. But it's
Yeah, I
really,
did
really
that.
good.
I did that once. Ask me how I know that really
Yeah,
does bubble over.
I know it does, but
I
it's
know.
delicious.
And then
Okay,
biotic, I actually take that every single night. I take two biotic every night. It's just part of my routine. And Elise, you can go into that too, but that's part of our gut health protocol.
yeah, so biotic is incredible because of the probiotics in it. And one of the probiotics in this biotic is called Saccharomyces boulardii. And any of you that have followed me for very long know that the Saccharomyces boulardii is incredible, especially for this new gut issue going around that they keep
Oh my
talking about in the
gosh.
news.
I think of you every time it's mentioned. I'm like, wow, can you imagine?
Crazy. So this biotic, the reason it's so incredible is you can it helps crowd out the bad guys, okay? And also, here's the thing. If your gut is processing the food that you intake more slowly because you're doing the GLPs, then you do need to prioritize gut health. So, but you might need biotic and you might also need to add balance. If you're not going every single day, then you need to make sure that you're getting your bowels moving because remember this, it is through the bowels that we detox because our liver processes a pint of blood every minute and you need to remove those toxins from the blood. It packages up in bile, and then when we eat foods, the bile is secreted, and the body wants to recycle the bile. Okay, but if the bile is carrying out toxins and you're constipated, now you're going to reabsorb all the toxins, and it's going to be more difficult for the body to clear toxins. Okay, so this is why you want to make sure that the bowels are moving, and if you need to add balance, I would recommend that.
Yeah. So, and just so you know, too, the Thrive experience, the classic Thrive experience is the one I recommend. Happens to be the least expensive one. I don't know, win-win. But that also has the prebiotics, probiotics, active digestive enzymes in that as well. So that is why we consider this like your minimum, bare minimum Thrive stack for
Yeah.
any of the longevity or peptide tools on the RX side of things. So we just wanted to kind of share that too. So let's close it out. And any last thoughts or final words, Rob and Elise, that you would like to share?
I'm just really excited to see these tools coming to, mass use really. Because for a long time, peptides, I mean, GLPs, you could get peptides historically, and a lot of the longevity molecules that are here have only been in the realm of like really, crazy biohackers who wear the red glasses and, you
Mhm.
know, put the methylene blue tabs on their tongue and all this stuff. This stuff is it's powerful. It's been vetted for several years. Now it's coming to the mass market, and we're going to see lots of really amazing transformational stories of people using them.
Yeah. And I have personal experience taking peptides by injection since 2018. So it's been on the scene for a very long time. I've taken every single one that they have listed because I had a chronic Lyme and mold. And that's what my doctor prescribed to me because they were holistic naturopathic doctors. And they were ahead of the curve in terms of where we were headed with this peptides and longevity therapy.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's exciting, but you can go with confidence, knowing that if you're choosing Le-Vel RX as your source, everything has been so meticulously thought out. Everything's like a well-oiled machine. But if you have any questions, of course, reach out to the person who invited you to this webinar. They would be more than happy to help you. And again, you need to have an account created, so reach out to them about that. Or if you're not sure how to log in, they can help you with that. So thank you guys for joining us on our webinar. Let us know. Maybe you can look at our stories, message us, send us a message if you would like to see more of these, so you can invite more friends. We might be willing to do those. So thank you, Rob and Elise. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. And thank you all for joining. And we'll see you on the next one.
Love
Bye,
you
y'all.
all.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, everybody.